So welcome to another Several People Are Typing. This is November 15th, 2020. I'm your host, Jim. Why don't you introduce yourselves, but you guys have been here before.
Hey, it's Brian.
It's Will.
Thank you. That was fabulous. I think that's enough intro. I think we're good on that. We've got a bunch of fun topics. The election just happened, or is still happening. However you want to call it. I think it's over.
It's an unresolved quantum wave, so it's like spread and just keeps spreading.
So I don't know how many times Biden has won the election at this point. It feels like 7.
Well, that's the nice part. It feels like he re-won every second, because every time I want to just like look at the news, I'm like, oh, we're still all deciding that he won. That's great.
Right. We're all still collectively saying this is right, except for this portion of the country. So that's great. I'm sure we're all happy about that, and that'll probably be some of the topics for tonight. But I want to bring up a bunch. But the AP, it is officially been called, as far as I know. I don't think that there's any real legal recourse Trump can take at this point. I know he has outstanding lawsuits, but I think it's officially done. Does that sound about right?
No.
So it's not officially done, right? So
Yeah.
not enough states have certified their elections to like officially mark it done. So, but the AP calling it and all of the news organizations calling it historically have been enough to say we have a president-elect.
Like since the beginning of like news orgs calling things, it's been enough, right?
I mean, yeah, the thing that comes to my mind with this is the difference between like life and unlife, where like you kind of have to draw a line, say, we're gonna say it here, and like everybody will agree that come the 20th, if Biden's sitting in the White House, like, okay, he's actually the president now. But like between now and then, there's so many like bureaucratic next steps that happen and all kinds of shenanigans and people yelling at each other about things, and that's just going to continue at various volumes, which is so weird.
Yeah,
that it's being debated.
So weird. It's never in my life, but here we go. Here we are.
Well, just further evidence that we're living in separate realities.
Yes, yeah. The two collective cultural touch areas are further and further diverging from each other, which is a bummer.
So as far as I know, the Trump campaign is still sending out donate emails and texts.
In fairness, so is the Biden campaign.
Right. I think because in more of a reaction to, although it might have something to do with the Senate race, but I think it's also in largely a reaction to Trump doing it. Like
they still need to pay their
cash
lawyers.
grab on this. We're gonna refill our coffers as well, because by you saying this crazy, people are pretty scared, and we're gonna use this as a time to kind of take more money and solidify our position. So I get it being a reaction, but it is kind of wild.
I mean, everybody's prepping for the next battle. It's not like the war's over.
Right. But if you're talking 2024, sure, but 2020 is as far as I can tell. I mean, there's like some stuff going on in Pennsylvania that maybe they disenfranchise like 1,000 voters, but he won by like 100,000 at this point. Like what is the legal recourse, to becoming president for Trump at this point?
Like various Hail Marys and moonshots, basically. I mean, yeah. Realistically, I feel like the vast majority of like inner Trump people know what's going on, including even him to one degree, and they're just prepping for the future. Like fighting, going out tooth and nail like this and like suing everybody and making a huge stink is, I mean, like, I don't think the point is to win now. It's just to like
pay down campaign,
further divide people, because that suits their interests.
Yeah, it's a way for one, them to save face, right? And that's like
Yes.
that's the
It's
most
content
important.
generation. I always try to think of it like that. It's content generation that they're going to
Yeah,
be bouncing around inside their, you know, their spheres for
yeah.
decades.
And it also, you know, it keeps the base energized, right? If they think that if they don't have to go through kind of the turmoil of defeat, they're rather going through kind of the turmoil of disenfranchisement or you know, from their perspective, disenfranchisement. It's much easier to stay motivated, which is what they want. Um, but I mean, there's a lot of speculation about what happens next. I saw an interesting thing about how the odds are that Trump just goes to Mar-a-Lago for a weekend and just stays there and doesn't ever come back to the White House. And like, and
And
then,
like
you know, rides out the
like a
time.
month or two later, but like just disappears
Yeah,
for a little bit.
just does none of the formalities of transitioning. Just goes to Mar-a-Lago and doesn't do any interviews, doesn't just tweets randomly, but never steps foot in the White House again, which I think is pretty plausible. There's apparently $200 million is being drummed up to start a Trump news channel.
Oh, I was wondering how much capital they were pulling together for that.
Yeah, so I saw some article that Trump associates have generated or have talked about raising $200 million to buy Newsmax and start
Oh,
like a.
yeah, I saw something about that. But
What are you buying? I thought that's like what are you buying from Newsmax at that point? Isn't I mean
they have infrastructure, right? They have, you know, they have all of the means of having like, you know, some sort of
right,
like news, right?
I saw
You're not starting from scratch.
Yeah. Infrastructure, distribution, employees, organization, right?
Yeah, you're not taking those 6 months to a year to get it up, right? You can just use whatever they have and put your spin on it, which is, I mean, basically is your spin anyway already. So it's a short transition there.
Right. What I saw in the news was them saying we're not interested in selling, which is like the least convincing thing you can say out loud. But regardless, there's a buyer looking, and I mean, like people joked about Trump TV 5 years ago being where things go. So I mean, we all kind of know it is going to take some form or another.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of laughed it off for a while, like whatever. It's just that is another Trump business that'll fail. There's clearly an audience.
Yeah. No.
That right now gets their fill from, you know, Fox News and Newsmax and Breitbart, but I think they only do that because there's no other like right-wing network available to them that isn't like Stormfront, right? That is explicitly, you know,
why would
supremacist.
Why would you distribute to a third-party vendor when you can sell yourself?
Because, well, I mean, because that's kind of been the Trump MO forever, right? Is that he does nothing but let other people distribute his name. Right? He doesn't want any part of the actual difficulty of running a business.
Do a network and then never show up. Is that what you're arguing, Will?
I think I don't think that Trump would really do any management whatsoever.
Right. He's not interested in running it. He's interested in talking through it.
Yeah.
Right. Like he got his taste from Twitter. Like he just wants more of that. Like it'll just be more of that. Him yelling at the world and much like the general like right-wing media sphere, like weaponizing and spreading outrage and the feeling of like they're all out to get us, but we're the good guys, right? Like that's just be more of that.
Yeah, it's just weaponized
resentment. That was the fucking word I couldn't get out. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, do you think he will split the Fox News viewership?
maybe.
I think that Fox News viewers have an appetite for him, right? And they'll tune out whenever it's Chris Wallace's turn, and they'll turn on Trump news or whatever.
Well, like you had the protesters, I think, yesterday saying screw Fox News, right? Like,
Yeah, but it's 2,000 people. Like, it's a very, very small. Like, I while the protests were disheartening to see, my favorite comment that I saw on it was that, like, the size of the crowd was smaller than the Taste of Taiwan Dumpling Festival that happens in the same square. Like, yeah, it was an insignificant amount of people.
It's a fringe of a fringe of a fringe, and like Trump will definitely bludgeon Fox anytime they say something that he doesn't like, but it's like, does he want to go through the effort of doing all the work of trying to go around it and then needing to compete with them? It'll definitely be a lot of work, but
and can you pay somebody like Hannity or Tucker Carlson enough to come over, right?
Yeah.
Like they make so much money at Fox.
Yeah,
and their base, their audience is going to still watch them.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking, but like Trump doesn't think rationally. Like, he bought the CFL, trying to go after and be like
the USFL,
saying like, I'm going to take down the NFL, which is just like, what? Like, maybe he thought it was all BS, but I really think he thought like he would just take them out, you know?
What do you think in his irrational mind would be his play? Would it be to fight Fox News?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I don't think he actually dislikes them enough. I think he just likes bitching about them occasionally, but it's all bark. Like, that's my feel.
I feel like every day there's some insider saying something about what Trump's pissed off about, and it's numb because he's always pissed off about something. But I've seen enough, not like one day reporting, but multi-day reporting about Fox calling Arizona really like did a number on him. Like he feels to some kind of core level of betrayal on that, even though they were right, and even though ultimately like Arizona is meaningless compared to like getting Georgia and PA, like it doesn't matter. But like there was just something that hit him at his core about that move.
It would certainly be interesting if there was direct competition inside the right-wing like media sphere as far as the like top dog spot that Fox has, right? Like,
this is a little bit tangential, but I think that Fox calling Arizona for him, like, while I understand he thinks that that's a slight, and that they should be loyal to him, that actually might have been like one of the better things that they could have done, because them calling Arizona along with the AP prevented Pennsylvania from getting called when it was obvious for days that it was going to go to Biden, and it prevented Nevada from getting called when it was obvious for a couple of days, because either of those, because Pennsylvania would have put it over 270, they had to be sure.
Oh, the Eye of Sauron effect.
Yeah, like the margin of error there then shrank so like basically they didn't call PA until there weren't enough votes for Trump to catch up.
By called in this context, do you mean the state itself saying like this is
these are still
the media calls?
Yeah.
Oh wait, so explain why couldn't PA also call?
So you don't want to call when you're at the one that'll put over the edge unless you're 100,000% sure, right? You're loosey goosey.
They're like even if it's relatively, it can't be the one, even though arguably any of them are the one. You can't be that one.
I was actually talking to Aline about that, where it's like if you just order them in any way, you could make almost any state that right. But they came out in the order that they did, and that order mattered.
Right, it's like the last senator on a big vote. It's like you're the one. It's like no, but aren't we all? It's like no.
I mean, there's a bunch of states that weren't the one and never would be, but there's
But there was a handful. The ones we were all tracking, the one that like the New York Times ticker had. That's
Yeah.
that's
And
pretty,
so
I mean, that's pretty like
I think that's a really good point.
that's
Will.
too that feels
I don't think they did it on
scary.
purpose, right? I don't think they
You
it
don't think they
was
intentionally did that as like a
no.
delay of game for Trump?
No, I just think it was like it might have been the best thing that could have happened because he got to play for a week about how
Yeah.
Biden hasn't won yet. Right.
The longer it spreads out, the better for him. And
Yeah.
the more he looks ahead, but then Biden like cheated him to get back into it by counting the mail-in votes, the better.
And you have this like 3 days, I guess, probably, where everybody's like Pennsylvania's going for Biden. Like, why aren't they just calling it? And at the same time, Arizona's actually pretty close. Like that might have been a miscall. And it led to just this week of uncertainty that only benefited Trump, to Brian's point.
Good donation gathering copy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. From
Well,
both sides.
The website said it's going to pay down or could be used completely legally. Obviously, I'm not trying to say it's illegal, but more of like a sucker. Like the marketing is donate to help us fight in courts, but like the small print is pay down campaign debt, which apparently there's an enormous amount of. So it's like,
Yeah. I actually clicked through on the Trump donation thing and then like scrolled down and found that fine print where at least on the one that I looked at, it was like 50% of this will be spent on the Trump 2020 campaign fund.
Right, which is paying down
debt.
Well, I'm curious how common or uncommon that is.
That's a great question. That's like
Yeah.
charities generally, where it's like, what percentage of them actually goes to the thing in question?
Yeah, because my guess is that that's the fine print in a lot of campaigns donations where it's like, yeah, we can spend this on whatever we want.
Yeah, there seems to be very little. Like I think they have to report it to a degree, but none of it's illegal. Like you can get shamed maybe, but I'm not saying any of it is above board. I think they can pretty much do whatever they want with the money.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
The fact that the Trump one had that literally, like, it didn't require me to do any sleuthing. It was just scroll down and there it was written, broad daylight. Like they would probably only do that if it was legally mandated.
Yeah. No, I was more going toward like the intent of it. Like the it seems to be you can really put this money to anything you care about. I didn't mean to imply it was illegal, just more that I think very like at the rate at which these lawsuits are being dismissed, like they barely hit the courts and they're dismissed. You can't really rack up that many court fees if you can't get past like the judge looking at it for 5 minutes and being like, okay, are you asserting there was voter fraud? Well, we think there's a lot of interesting things. I'm asking you, as a person of the court, do you have evidence of voter fraud? No. Then why did you bring this lawsuit? Like
that transcript was really great. I assume you guys both saw that?
Yeah.
That was really fantastic. I even clicked through and made sure to read some of the before and after and the rest of the context.
There are a non-zero number of people.
Zero is the best one.
That's great lawyer speak.
Like you can't rack up that many fees when there's no rounds to it, like these lawyers are going in and out. I think one of the major law firms is backing out because I think when you're approaching the level, right? Yeah, you know the name of it, right?
Porter Wright, I believe is the name of the
right. Like when lawyers are worried that that they could see consequences for representing things that known to be false, right? Like how bad is that, right? Like how bad are these claims?
There was some interesting comments around like how their defense of it is, well, everybody needs a lawyer, right? But that there's a marked difference between a criminal who will get railroaded by the criminal justice system because they have no expertise, versus somebody who is actively trying to destroy the Constitution. Like maybe they don't need a lawyer.
Will,
Like,
both sides will. Both sides are at fault.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. Both sides are at fault, obviously.
They're
yeah,
both
and
as bad as each other.
yeah, and there's been a ton of turmoil, I guess, within these law firms about whether or not they should be representing them, and then there's a lot of external pressure on them as well.
Oh yeah, Jesus. I mean, the idea of like ever associating with a law firm that willingly sent lawyers into a courtroom to argue, to make these arguments is like, oh God.
Right, to create a crisis in democracy.
Shit. Fuck that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can imagine the kind of conflict internal in any business.
Well, now you got Rudy Giuliani running.
Is he taking the lead?
Yeah, good
old butt dial.
Good old. It was a tuck.
Good old RG.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, the guy who has butt dialed multiple reporters. That's who's running. Like, I don't even know how you butt dial anybody anymore. Like, how is that possible?
He doesn't lock his phone. That's why.
Sometimes I listen to YouTube videos on my phone while walking around, which means the screen isn't locked. So it's in my pocket, and sometimes buttons do get pressed as I move around. That's about the closest.
You
That
have
is-
premium, so you don't have to deal with that shit. That's what you pay for.
Why would I pay for that?
It's because
that
instead of
because
being
that is
locked in your pocket. What's wrong with
Oh,
you?
trust me, I'm very well aware of that. YouTube routinely gives me ads that I ignore that tell me that.
that
In
is
fact, I will give them the credit of like when I minimize the things or whatever, they're like, hey, you can they'll give you the interstitial right there, like, you can get YouTube Premium and it'll
Just
fix
give us
that
a little
problem.
something. And
Yeah,
you
you just have to pay us for the service that you've enjoyed
which used
for
to be free, by the way.
thousands of hours for free. All you have to do is give us a little bit of money. I'm like, no.
No, I mean, and it used to be free. It used to be. I mean, that did become a service. I remember like one time it just stopped working for me. I'm like, what?
yeah. I mean, that's why I pay the $6 a month, $7 a month, whatever it
Yeah, no,
is.
it's literally
But
this.
also, it gives me access to Google Music or Google Play or whatever they call there. So I don't have to pay for Spotify or
Oh, cool.
Apple Music. So it kind of justifies it that way, but mostly it's so that I can listen to things and not have to look at my phone.
Can you
I'm a-
download without the premium as well?
I have no idea.
The download's
I've had
nice.
premium for so
No.
long.
No, you can't download.
Yeah, so I actually use the download feature. Like, cool, I guess not anymore, but like when I was flying, like I could
Yeah.
download 4
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, I used to do the same thing.
Yeah. Or when I walk the dog now, because I have no cell reception the second I leave my place. Anyways, all right. So
But this is good content. What do you don't anyways?
no, the me walking my dog in YouTube Premium is I can move off that topic. Okay, so we covered a bunch of stuff. We kind of morphed into a bunch of conversations. Let me pull up my trusty sheet, because I thought, I
By the way,
mean,
you've seen Legal Eagles YouTube, right, Jim?
yeah, I like him a lot.
You mean because he's like your fucking doppelganger?
I'm not sure if he's like more successful or less successful, but looks more successful, Jim.
He's definitely more successful, trust me.
Yeah, if we compare your guys' respective YouTube view counts,
Yeah, no.
because if you get even one view, Will's gonna beat you up.
I don't think Legal Eagle or whatever the guy's name is has that problem.
I wonder if he's stopped practicing law so that he can just make YouTube videos at this point.
At a certain point.
Respect that, right? Wouldn't that be the goal when you're that much in on a channel? Like, how can you? That has to be an enormous amount of work for what he does. It really does have to be. I mean, the scripts.
Yeah, sure.
He does long, well thought out scripts. You can't just do that crap on the fly, you know?
Yeah, and he loves Indochino suits.
Oh my God, that guy went on shut about the Indochino suits. I mean, he's funny enough where I won't give him-
He gets a pass.
like, he's not funny, but it's like, yeah, okay, like you're being cute. This is okay. Like, this is fine.
He's enjoyably self-aware.
Now tell me if Trump can take over the country, please. You know what I mean?
And then you also have to like, I know that YouTube is where I go for like how to fix my faucet, but like, is that really where I want to go for expertise on like, can Trump, perform a coup? Like,
Yes.
I mean,
maybe.
If you watch enough videos and try to discern the aggregate answer between them.
Is that going to be Trump's YouTube playlist? Is like how to coup?
How to coup.
Oh God, I want to see his Google search history. Coups for dummies.
Donald Trump's Google search history is just Googling Donald Trump every single day. That's all it is. Okay.
Ivanka Trump naked.
What's that?
That's what he's Googling.
I don't think it's to Google that. I think that's just like a FaceTime away or something. Maybe I'll switch it. So I did some more Trump stuff, but it's kind of overlapped and we kind of covered.
Well, I have one question. Like, what do you guys think of Parler? Like, do you think that that's going to be successful, or?
So here's my idea.
I don't.
In the long run, because obviously it has like, it's super popular right now. It's like the number 3 download.
Yeah.
Or some shit like that.
So here's my thing.
I don't think so.
Go ahead, Jim. Service, or else the worst of the worst comes in and makes your site unusable. Even the right wing has people further to the right that they hate. Like,
this is a very good point. I like this.
So like they will inevitably need to curtail the worst of them, or they won't get people to go there. And they are probably already struggling with advertisers. Like, how does the company make money? If they can't make money, they go away. You lose all your advertisers the second you start to go edgy right. So like they're limited in advertising revenue already. So they need a lot of people dumping money into this, right? So you need like this other funding that, like, unless it becomes a paid service, but then that also limits how many people are going to join. Like paywalls kill people join. So it's like there's no good path here. The reason that YouTube works so well is because they make a boatload of money off advertising revenue. Like that's it. That's all it is. They just make a boatload of money off advertising revenue, right? If you can't get advertisers because your place is like a shithole, you can't make money that way. Then you need to start charging people, which then reduces the amount of people who will, like, you can't bring in new people. You know what I mean? Like it just becomes a self-fulfilling like collapse on itself, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think tech companies need to make money to be successful, though. That's been something that I have been taught.
I don't know if you're saying that's a joke on like Trump's companies, but like Parler needs to make money to stay around.
I mean, it's a joke on tech companies, right?
Yeah,
but that's
I mean, how many not profitable, humongous companies are there? Like, I don't.
I mean, they're all profitable.
I don't know enough about Parler to know how it's set up in any way in those sorts of ways, but like, but I think your point about like when you take off the guardrails, like things tend to get kind of bad in various ways. Like I like thinking about Parler turning into 4chan and like what sorts of ways that they push back against that for their own internals. But I mean, I don't even think realistically they're actually the like no censorship platform, right? Don't they censor? Don't they have their own like?
Yeah, they've already posted some censorship stuff.
Yeah, so it's
or like not, but like criteria of things that you're not allowed to do.
I mean, it's never going to be. What are they trying to be more like a Twitter? I don't know. They're like it's basically Twitter.
No, they're trying to be Twitter.
Yeah.
I thought it's videos though.
Well, you can embed whatever the fuck you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just kind
I don't know. I'm never going to sign up for it. But that actually leads me to one of the better criticisms that I saw of it is that when you have a site whose audience exists only to own the libs, and there's no libs to own, how successful could that site be?
I mean, like again, I think of 4chan where like I think that things, it won't be as bad, obviously, but the only effect it's going to have on broader culture besides the anonymous people inside of it, anonymous equivalents, will be like the headlines that people say on Parler, like that show up elsewhere. But that's kind of about it. It'll always be really small and niche.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it'll have a boom for a couple of years, or not a couple of years, but a couple months, like right around this election and right around the probably runoff in Georgia.
Yeah.
And it will die out when, yeah, either people realize that there is nobody there to disagree with, or it's so toxic that nobody will give them any money. Because I mean, shit's not cheap to run.
Yeah, like why do people go on Twitter? They go on
And-
Twitter to hear like to follow celebrities, to follow like news anchors, to follow.
Yeah.
It's like
The
who's
only content will be outrage content on that
right.
platform.
Like and honestly, a lot of these people are get away with it on Twitter today. Like you have to really want the really bad stuff to go there, because Twitter, you can get away with a crap load. You just can't, like they're cracking down a little bit, but you can be pretty bad on Twitter. It doesn't matter,
You can't actively ask your audience to kill people. That seems to be the line. That's about it.
And I'm glad Parler really, really filling in
standing up for free speech by putting the line 1 inch further.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's written in their service agreement that, and I don't know how these lawsuits work, so I can't really, it just seemed like this was different, I was told, but I can't defend it, is that if Parler is sued because of the content you put up there, you are forced to defend Parler.
It feels like one of those things that can't possibly be enforced.
That's fair.
But I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I have absolutely no idea.
I'd always thought that Twitter can't be sued directly for anything, because like they'll make an argument about like public spaces or something like that, and it's like,
I don't have the proper nouns for it, but I know that there are like legal statutes or laws around like you hosting this content doesn't make you the like guilty of anything involving.
Right. It's
like
why
they've happened, and it is plausible that is going to change in the not too distant future, because there's a lot of pushback from the left and the right towards changing that.
It's why they fight so hard not to be labeled media companies, because if they were media companies, then they would be responsible for what is on their platform. But they kind of fall into the same space as like message boards right now. When these laws were written, like if I just host this message board, I'm an ISP, like I can't possibly be responsible for policing everything that everybody says on it. But if you're a media company, you're absolutely responsible for the content that is on your website or on your channel or on your airwaves.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree with Brian. I think that's going to change, and I think it should change. It's the internet. It's a good experiment.
You've grown up.
It was a fun experiment. But yeah, it turns out that like if you regulate it in the same way that like a teenager would, it's just going to turn into like the chaos of pubescent boys.
Everybody is in favor of censorship. The only question is where you draw your line, and maybe we move the line another inch or two to the left for the internet.
Yeah, I don't think the right's idea of censorship has anything to do with the left's, though. I feel like,
but by the way, I'm not saying that in like left or right, like ideologically, just like, nope, time to move the line just a little bit.
Yeah, but like the left like wants to like, I mean, the right like wants to like censor companies from having an opinion on like gay rights. Like that's their version of what they want to say. Like they want to be like, when they're like, yeah, companies companies need to stop meddling in our affairs. And I'm like, yeah, man, companies need to get out of my life. They're just like, no, we just don't like it when they adopt the like broadly adopted social things that they can then capitalize and make money on. Like the obvious things that are like, oh, we can actually make a little money if we just like do this virtue signaling about, you know, hey, we're totally for gay people, right? That's what they hate. Like that's the part of the corporation they hate. Everything else they love.
I actually don't know. Like, they only hate it when it goes like against what they want, right? They're pretty transparent in that way. I mean, that was what the whole like Colorado bakery lawsuit was about, right? Whether or not they were legally allowed to turn away a gay couple for the only reason, you know, of them being gay, right? So like they want corporations to be able to have those opinions, like that falls under religious freedom for them, right? They just don't like it when it goes the other way, and like all of these corporations are like, actually we're gonna virtue signal and say that we're okay with, you know, all lifestyles.
Right? It's the a benefit of capitalism, I will say, is corporations end up becoming a generalized voice that echoes the majority of the majority of the country in a way that centers discourse, and if anything, actually does move it a little to the left. As much as I really don't like corporations, they are a positive force in that regard.
Or at least the, like ones that are trying to be broad, right? I mean,
but
like
they all are.
Well, I'm sure any that are trying to be big certainly are, right?
Yeah, no, like Hobby Lobby is like an ideologue company, but like American Express, Nike, these like multi, you know, corporations that have no problem doing anything they need to do in all the other countries that have all the civil rights violations. Here, they're like, hey, if I just like run this campaign, I'm going to see a 6% boost in sales, which is billions of dollars in my pocket. That ends up, you know, sure, it's fake and they're capitalizing on us, but it actually does have a benefit, you know.
I like that point.
Yeah, they are a bellwether of public opinion.
Yes, and they can drown out the extreme.
A strong moderating force, because they want to live in a moderate environment so that they
want to make money. And if turns out if the majority of the people are for gay marriage, you can capitalize on this because you're a corporation. It's just funny. It's as much as I
mean it basically
corporations, it's a benefit.
I think Will's bellwether point is really well made, where like, I mean, when you watch the like, I mean, if we're just hyper focused on gay marriage, like watching the like, you know, public approval percentage inflection point curve kind of hit during our lifetimes, and then seeing how like, well, now that's the new normal, so now Nike's in right, like
yep. and that's when the right is like censorship, like what the hell, when
right, yeah,
I want to go toss my Nike out, it's like you've lost
virtue signaling, shoving your morals down my throat.
When the corporations have jumped on board, like the big ones, like you're done, like this is you're done, you know.
I don't know, man. Alito is just at the Federalist Society talking about how
some garbage.
Obergefell was, you know, trouncing on his religious freedoms. So that's fun. Yeah, so Obergefell is the Supreme Court case that legalized gay marriage, right?
Oh God, he's
nothing. There is very little in this world that disgusts me more than using religious freedom in the ways that the current right does.
Yeah, I
different in the past.
Freedom really means I get to oppress other people.
Freedom means
free.
Yeah.
Like fuck you, fuck you,
Brian. I should be free to live my life with the understanding that people should not be around me. I should be free.
You are free to be the state religion, and that's all.
Yeah, it's like the it's like it's like I don't know if people realize it's a bad argument tactic or if they generally have no idea what they're talking about. It's like I always wonder, like, are you trolling me? But it's like the whole, you know,
What people
um,
saying freedom of religion for those things?
well, that argument that like I should be free to not be around gay people.
Sure,
That's not
right,
really what they're
yes.
saying, but they're kind of saying that in a way. I'm kind of like dumbing it down to a degree, but that's kind of what they're
Right.
saying. Right? That's the feeling they're trying to push
I
out there.
mean, you are free, just don't go out in public.
Right,
I guess
right.
like that's the choice you get to make. You're free to make that choice.
But-
I think my perception of it is it comes from that place of privilege and then being exposed to equality and then getting mad about it because it feels like you're taking a step back.
Yes.
Yeah, oppression isn't losing power, it's not having a proportionate amount. Like being oppressed is not power being taken away from you. Like that's not the definition of power of being oppressed. It's
Wait. No, I think it is. Try rephrasing again. I think we're on the same page though. Just
if you are oppressed, what we mean by that is not that power has been taken away from you. It's that your power is not equal or not distributed in whatever like equal manner. So like if you have all of the power and I take 1 ounce of it away and you still have 98% of the power, you are now not oppressed, right? You can say, but I've lost power, therefore I'm being oppressed. It's like, but you're not. You still have 98% of the power until you have, you're under the line. That is when you can start to call this into
the confusion here is that you are using the word oppressed to talk about the group that is privileged.
Right. That's
yeah, Brian is talking about he's using the word oppressed to mean the people who are actually oppressed.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the people who pretend to be oppressed.
He is saying that, like, the difficulty is when you are coming from a place of privilege, when you have that privilege taken away, it feels like oppression.
Yeah.
When it's really just equality.
And actually, even I'm even saying even a lighter touch than that, where you don't even necessarily lose any of the privileges that you have. It's just that there are people around you who used to not have equal privileges to you. Of like,
but I would argue you do lose privilege. You just you are losing something.
Sure, I guess I
understand what you're trying to say, Brian.
Yeah, but that's the part of the argument that I think is right. Like when they're like, "Hey, I'm losing out." Like, yeah, you are losing out. Like I think we should just admit it. You are, but
sure.
Like
you are losing
necessarily mean like it's wrong. But I feel like we don't acknowledge that they're losing power, which they absolutely are. It makes them feel like, oh, well, then you guys just don't know what you're talking about. It allows them to invalidate the argument. Yeah, I'm taking away your power. That's not oppression. I'm leveling the playing field is the difference,
Sure. We have a lot of swirling proper nouns here, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
It is a reduction in my rights to tell me that I'm not allowed to stop a gay person from coming.
Yes, exactly.
That is a true statement.
Right.
Now, should I ever have had that right? I mean, like there are places where I have the right to kill somebody if they look at me the wrong way, right? Like if they're of a lower caste or they're of a different race, right? Like, and if I lost that right, would that be, how would we describe that? Would I say that I am being repressed because I no longer have that right? I mean, yeah.
I don't know if you really like killing people, then.
I mean, as long as they're of lower castes.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, like a less political charged one, I think is like stop signs, right? If you've been living somewhere forever,
oh,
a lot of people are dying on the street. They put in a stop sign one day, you're gonna get people that are like,
fuck that. It's a yield sign.
Fuck that stop sign. I don't give a shit about that stop sign. You're making me have to stop now. What the hell is this? And you're like, well, yeah, I'm making your life a little more, a little less convenient. I am.
Fuck you. I
Let's
am.
acknowledge that.
A lot of people died at this intersection. There's now a
Right,
goddamn
like-
stoplight.
So you're right. You know, your life did get a little less convenient. But I'm kind of focused on the aggregate here, buddy. So blah blah blah. But like, you know, if we just say I don't know what you're talking about, that stop sign doesn't inconvenience you. That's like,
Yeah.
that's
You're 100% right, Jim.
anyways. So okay, sorry. Okay. So I think we got some good ones. Let's get to Biden.
Well, can I? So there's so I hate maxims that are extremist and like giving up freedom for safety means you deserve neither, right? Like I think of that when I think of the stop sign, where like I think the only wrong answer is to say it's never right to curtail freedom, or the opposite, right?
Yeah, it's in the
But,
nuance. We can be adults about it. You can't live in binary absolutes and pretend like you're going to create a world that makes any goddamn sense.
Yeah, I can say I'm in favor of freedom as like a guiding principle, but still be in favor of putting that stop sign.
Yes.
I don't think that makes me a hypocrite. But
Yeah.
but that's just what me talking about myself.
Also, I think it's a good rule of thumb to just like not automatically assume that something a founding father said is true or like right.
Yeah.
You know, you still have to think about it. Like,
Yeah. You mean you can't turn off the brain when Papa Daddy you know what I mean?
well, it's like
yeah,
I
no.
mean, yeah, they had some crazy fucking ideas, and they also lived in a world that had nothing to do with the world we live in now. Shit changes. And you know, back when that was said, like, you know, that was probably a really good way of getting people riled up to, you know, fight off your oppressors.
And it's an effective way of summarizing what very likely was like an unfair and like untenable situation.
Yeah, but not much nuance to be had there, which I think is what your point is.
Yeah, not something we can just copy paste over and be like, well, that's my decision making progress.
Yeah,
therefore,
look at the board. What does the board say?
Like, it's the board.
Sorry, denied. It's like, what? That's it. Like,
I think about that too when I said like, everybody's in favor of censorship. Like, it's just where are you applying it and in what areas? Like that's the same. Like, yeah, these laws and restrictions that decrease freedom exist, and we just we try to light touch it as best we can, or max what was the good line, like maximizing goodness or whatever.
Yeah, whatever's best for the aggregate.
That was the word.
Right. Now that was exactly my argument on my call to political violence and overthrowing the government. I'm like, everyone's got a line, buddy. Like,
well,
that guy Schulteis was talking to, that guy's line seems pretty close to right now, but like I think most people's just a bit further away. But I feel like everyone has a line somewhere where it's like, okay, what I got a hammer? Like, what are we doing, guys? I don't know.
That's those scales I was talking about earlier on Slack. We're like,
Yes.
I thought you were gonna say one more thing there, Brian, but okay.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. That was a trail off.
All right, good segue. Let's
all I do is trail off or interrupt. Those are my only ways of talking.
Okay.
What's the next topic?
It's a horrible written program. Okay. We're done with Trump. We might still talk about a couple things, but we've definitely made him the centerpiece, as I'm sure he would love. So Biden, let's do maybe some immediate things, and then we'll go further out. Immediate COVID. What do you see Biden, given the disinformation or misinformation about masks, about how deadly this virus is? What do you think Biden and I'll say like the Democratic Party could really do to significantly curtail the pandemic?
Honestly, not much.
Like, what powers does he have to really just jump in and do stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know legally what what powers he has for like a federal mask mandate. I know that he said that he'll have a federal mask mandate, but I don't know what teeth that has or can have.
I thought I've
Um,
heard the opposite too. I have not been paying super close attention.
um, what I think that he can do is put pressure on governors in the same way that Trump has put pressure on governors in the opposite direction, to, you know, try and get them to implement mask mandates. So
So
I mean,
it's kind of indirect.
I think that's a lever he has. Beyond that, I think, you know, having competent people in charge of distributing a vaccine is going to go a long way, right? Like having a competent team as opposed to Scott Atlas, right? Scott, I think that's his first name, who was basically like a herd immunity guy.
Or do nothing.
Yeah.
So an accelerator.
Yeah. So, you know, I think unfortunately there's really so little that can be done at this point to from a federal level to curtail anything. I mean, my like pipe dream, what I think should happen is just the government gives everybody, you know,
6 weeks,
$3,000 or $4,000 a month. Just stay the fuck home. Like, we will give you $4,000 a month for however long it takes. Stay home, and use the kind of, you know, unlimited borrowing power of the United States government to fund that.
which
Right.
immediately makes our money back the second we can actually like return our economy to normal. Like we immediately make that up.
Yeah. If you did that, and if you like went back, it would cost like $500 billion a month to do that.
Yeah, that just feels.
That feels pretty reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, if the PR campaign could be like, guys, let's just take on 500 billion, like we did trillions to corporations. Honestly, let's fund this thing with like a tax bill. Let's literally not even make you pay. Let's just tax the companies, get 500 billion, and you'll be at your concerts in your backyard and no shame in a month.
Well, we did the $3 trillion
yeah
COVID bill,
which was 3% to corporations.
Yeah. So just 500 billion a month to give every adult $1,000 a month, or $1,000 a week rather. Feels pretty good.
So I think that like
that's pipe dream though. So
yeah, I think that the like what kinds of things that you think are going to happen and what kinds of things you wish would happen are two totally different and interesting topics. I really like, I think it's the UK's where like, yeah, you stay home and the government pays 80% of your salary.
Yeah.
There you go. Businesses like, well, there will be no attrition. Everything's fine. Like it's like the country goes into a stasis mode.
Yeah.
And
you can't
a fucking good system.
Yeah. Cancel mortgage payments, cancel rent.
Yeah.
For
you actually
or pause, right? Just pause.
Well, not even that. In that scenario, you don't even need to, like, because you're just continuing to pay people. I mean, maybe if 80% isn't enough, you could figure out some variations on that. But like the whole idea is that money keeps cycling through so that things can happen.
Well, so how do businesses like restaurants and bars and things like that, how do they manage to stay open if everybody's staying home, right? And yeah, their employees' salaries get paid, but like their rent isn't going to be getting paid because they're not getting any income.
Oh, that's fair.
As a business. So yeah, that's why I would think that you would have to like suspend mortgages and rent as well. But yeah, I mean, if you don't, if you don't, then whatever. Like that's just better. And yeah, I mean, absolutely, governments exist to solve problems like this, right? Governments exist to be able to do extraordinary things that people can't do on their own, right?
Like go to the fucking moon, for instance.
Yeah. But
so
from the just real quick.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, so that's my more like pipe dreamy side. but my concern is that the partisan cultural divide isn't something that can be bridged at this point. So there's a frighteningly large number of people who are going to not cooperate, and it's really hard to deal with a virus from a human level, social engineering level, as far as keeping spread down and all that sort of thing. Anything short of vaccine isn't going to work because of Republicans.
Well, so that kind of hits into the point of McConnell in the Senate. Like, what can you do if Republicans own 52 seats in the Senate?
I'm pretty sure McConnell will pass a COVID bill with Biden.
One that massively, profits corporations.
Favors corporations and barely gives stuff to individuals.
He'll do another one of those $3 trillion tax bills. Like he'll do 100 of those.
That is exactly what will happen, which will be better than nothing, but not by much.
Yeah, unfortunately, the politics of today, the number of people who realize where the blame actually is pretty small. In regards to McConnell can hold out and then just say he's holding out because the Democrats' bill is fucking terrible.
Yep.
And he doesn't want to pass it. And Republicans will never read the bill. They'll never know what's in it. They'll just, Democrats are evil, and they only want the Green
They'll
New
get their
Deal.
email of those 4 talking points. And you'll see
welfare, something welfare queens.
Yeah, exactly, right. So and in fairness, a lot of Democrats are going to do the same, right? Where how many are actually going to read what's in the contents of whatever bill is proposed? And if, and Democratic leadership is just going to say, McConnell doesn't want our version of the bill for these reasons, and nobody's ever going to look. So the margins of people who are actually going to be swayed one way or the other by what's actually happening is really, really small. Much, much smaller than I think it's ever been. So I don't think you have a political reason to cave. I don't think there will be enough political pressure for one side to cave. So I think Democrats are going to cave just because.
No, that means Democrats are going to cave if you say that.
But it's not because of political pressure. It's because of trying to do the most good that they can.
Right, which is,
It's compromising with a brick wall.
Yeah, you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
That is the epitome of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
That was 8 years of Obama.
Obviously I was a Warren supporter, but her kind of platform of just do the most good that you can as fast as you can works for me.
She had my vote.
How much can I do right now?
I just wish I could have ranked choice it.
Did you vote in the primary, Brian?
Yes.
I did not. By the time it got to me, it didn't matter.
I don't remember if it mattered. Probably not.
Did you vote?
I didn't win that by a landslide, so whatever. It was not even close.
No, props to his campaign team who,
numbers.
They fucking had a plan and they followed through. Just like Brian Boydano.
Exactly. Yeah, no, they had their it's going to come down to South Carolina, and we're going to get all the momentum going into Super Tuesday.
Right.
They're right. And they almost ran out of money. It was real tight there, but but it worked.
Yeah, I'm glad Biden winning South Carolina was so good for Democrats. Because
with as close
in the general.
With as close as this election was.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you Bernie had a better shot. There's no way. I wouldn't say that ever. I don't think he did.
I think Biden was the only one who could have won.
It's just it is funny that like a state that I don't think has gone with Democrat in a while, becomes this like super decider of the Democrat that leads the party. I don't know. Just
Yeah, that's
like there's something off about that logic, you know?
so. Is Trump running in 24?
It's gonna say he is.
Well, right, but
He's going to start campaigning on
He's never
January
stopped.
21st.
Yeah, he's never going to
Come
stop
on.
campaigning.
Yeah, no, like it's going to just be everyone's going to update their sign for Trump 2024, and he is just going to campaign for the rest of his life.
Yeah, except I don't know, because he's gonna run out of money. Like that shit costs like campaigning costs a lot of money.
yeah, but
And
he's just gonna keep grifting. Dude, the true believer is gonna true believe.
yeah, but I don't. I mean, the
You don't
true
think it's the volume of the
yeah,
available?
I don't think it's enough.
sufficient?
Yeah,
Honestly, I thought he raised an insane amount. I just thought that the people who ran the campaign were idiots.
Well, idiots and
you mean
grifting-
embezzlers?
embezzling themselves. Yeah, exactly. Like there's a little column A, a little column B. I mean, what's the difference when you get right
Like
down to it?
when I was slicing that American cheese in the deli, half a pound of American cheese, one slice for you, slice for me.
Which one is the euphemism, idiot or embezzler?
Oh, all right. Well, so the topic was Biden's impact. A lot of indirect. There's this kind of like shoot the moon that the Democrats somehow, I don't know, get it through the Senate. This crazy package that would keep people home. That would do a miracle. That would be a miracle.
That would be.
That, he's going to
maybe the Georgia Senate races go Democrat. Maybe there are enough.
A ton of money, and I'll probably do some text banking. I suggest if you guys have any time or money you can spare, do that. But I think they're low chance, but to your Will's point, not impossible by any means. So
yeah, I mean the thing that
Aren't they actually really close?
so, yeah, they were really close,
Yeah.
but so Trump lost Georgia because he ran behind Purdue. So Purdue actually got more votes than Trump did in Georgia.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by ran behind?
So like percentage wise. So he did worse than Purdue did. So there were a bunch of Republican voters who voted for Purdue for Senate who didn't vote for Trump.
Wait, he legitimately got less votes in this.
So a whole bunch of like the Atlanta suburbs.
Wow, never Trump is going to never Trump.
Yeah, and it turned out that like the Atlanta suburbs who declined voting for president, but voted for Purdue, were more than Trump lost the state by. So so he was like pretty disliked there.
Damn.
That said, he was pretty disliked in a very specific part of the state, and still got a shitload of turnout there. Like there was a huge amount of turnout in Georgia. So do those people all still turn out for Purdue in the absence of Trump?
I mean, that's the question on both sides, right? Like without active Trump and presidential voting, like who shows up for the runoff? I mean,
no, I think that Democrats have a really good reason to be energized.
Sure.
Right, getting both races to a runoff is huge in Georgia.
it is.
And Trump is not doing Georgia any favors by staying as present in the zeitgeist as he is.
Yeah, and his sulky lame. The worse his sulky lame duck bullshit gets, the better it gets for Georgia.
Yeah, it's
well, I'm sorry, for us, for the left, I don't know.
I'm comfortable saying for Georgia. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I think he's doing a good job of keeping the left energized, and I think he's doing a good job of keeping a very small percentage of the right super energized. Yeah. I'm curious as to
Yeah.
the much broader side of the Republicans, like the 60-70% of Republicans.
We're just like done with them.
Yeah, who just don't care that much. Right. And it's not a presidential race, so you're going to have lower turnout in general. Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens. I don't know one way or the other.
Yeah.
It feels within reach.
We'll have Nate Silver tell us.
Yeah. Oh my God. The thing is, he wasn't really wrong.
This is why we all just need to quit our jobs and be stats people, because it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
We said 10%. Hey, we were right.
Hey,
90%.
I said 0.7%. I said there was a chance. Get off my back.
Well, 90% doesn't mean a blowout. 90% just means that there's a 90% chance that he's going to win, and he did. So we were right. It's the argument they get to use.
It's the argument that, and you can use that with any percentage.
I mean, I think the top line number is the less interesting than like going into various breakdowns, and I don't care enough to do that. Nothing felt wildly out of whack from what I was being broadly told.
I mean, election night.
You have to. It helps a lot to step. I mean, it'll help a lot to step back as opposed to
when Atlanta was under reporting, they were taking that as a trend in the country and forecasting very different odds.
Not Atlanta. Miami did.
I thought it was Atlanta. I thought it was the unreported stuff in Fulton or whatever county that Atlanta is.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Election night, I tuned out. I just started playing Hades.
No, so like the New York Times sticker, you were on, right? Weren't you on?
Sorry, what was it?
Weren't you on election night?
For about 10 minutes, and then
Will was. Brian, weren't you on or no?
I mean, similar to Will.
Oh, so the New York Times ticker was tracking Georgia.
Yeah, so I like Predict It, which is the betting odds.
Yeah.
And like it was like, but Biden. No. Yep.
Yeah, no, that was the pipe burst votes thing, because apparently Atlanta.
Sorry, the what? Say that word again.
There was a bunch of votes in whatever county Atlanta's in.
Pipe burst?
Yeah, that delayed votes being counted.
Oh.
And they thought there was an error where they thought Atlanta was like effectively done reporting. And the numbers were just not Biden, like not nearly what people were expecting. Like it was way off. And you had tickers that had Georgia as R+3. And then the second this news came out, it literally every ticker immediately shot back to D plus like 0.5 and then held. And all of a sudden, every single like international betting thing went from like Trump 3-1 to Biden to 3-1 within like a minute. Because of this one piece of news that then like was like, oh no, nope, our forecasting is actually exactly where it should be. Like this data was gaslighting us basically, you know?
Yeah.
Well, doesn't Predict It still have Trump as like a 9% chance to be the next president?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, what is that like?
Like apparently you can't find any betting markets to actually take that bet.
Oh, 12%. Well, it's not percent, it's cents because it's share, but 12 is maps roughly to 12. I mean, Biden's at 90, so you do the math.
That's free money though, if you can find.
Yeah, no, exactly. Jesus.
Dude, I would argue
how do
and if Biden loses, that money ain't going to be worth a whole lot very soon anyway. So whatever.
I mean, if Biden loses, there's been a coup, and like,
dude, get your shovel.
Yeah.
Get your revolutionary shovel that we've all got somewhere.
I mean, I'll have to go buy a gun, and that's really hard in Massachusetts.
I don't know how to shoot a gun. I know how to hold a shovel though.
Well, did you see the general? What's his name? Not Miley. I don't know. That general who in his like speech said, "We do not swear an oath to a king. We do not swear an oath to a president. We do not swear an oath to the country. We swear an oath to the Constitution." Which was like a slight of like, you do not have military support for your coup.
Oh, like your coup's lacking an important component.
Yeah.
So that's I mean,
if there is a coup, it will be like a political only one, and the military will stay the fuck out.
but in theory, it would have to do something if things got bad enough.
Sure.
It has to have a side.
I mean, if we degenerate into anarchy, then I'm sure that
No, like riots at a large enough scale, and the president says, put everyone to jail, and I'm in like pulling in the military and I'm calling it like an insurrection. Like the military has to be like, yep, got it, or nope. Like that's the line, right?
I guess that's fair. There's always eventually a line.
Yeah, I mean, if there is a political coup, we're going to see how unscalable that wall around the White House is.
It's still up.
That's everything. Does Trump like played it out? Does he understand how like has he
Played
like
it out? No.
like how like can he but like movie terms like what's the movie with what's her name Kirsten Dunst, like does he realize how close his reality is to that?
I have no idea what movie you're talking about right now.
Really?
All right. No.
It wasn't a Kirsten Dunst.
Dude, I have no idea. What was the movie about?
Donald Trump was president, right? Okay. I know it's far-fetched, but
I mean, Kirsten Dunst was in Dick, which is a movie about a president.
No, it wasn't presidents. She was like a princess and or queen, and the peasants overthrew them. That's the whole point.
Oh, Marie Antoinette.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Donald Trump is Marie Antoinette.
Thank you.
I don't think you're the first person to have made that.
What was it? Kirsten Dunst? I don't remember. The one where she dies. Okay. My point is that like Trump can't save himself to a point. Like if the company, if he pulled the country into an insurrection, like he's dying. He's dying. Like I don't get it. Anyways, I guess no one. I guess the people who try and do these crazy things never think about that. So never mind.
No, I mean, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think there is like multiply thought, plan behind this. It is what do I have to do right now to maintain power, and tomorrow it will be what do I have to do right now to maintain power. I don't think there's a bigger plan. I mean, the guy has spent the last like 4 days golfing.
Yeah, driving past the Proud Boy rally on his way to golf is just like, you guys do you. I got a tea time. Like,
yeah,
holy
like,
shit.
do you think somebody who has a master plan about how he's going to overthrow the government of the United States is, he's like, nah, I'm going to just do a quick 9.
I don't know, man.
Trump makes a new plan every morning when he reads Twitter.
It just like you read about like, and I get this is like a played out analogy, but like Hitler was a pretty fucking stupid guy who like was an egomaniac who like needed to constantly be praised, made terrible decisions all the time, was pretty fucking lazy. Like the idea that we call out that this kind of thing couldn't happen because of those traits, I think is just the wrong point.
But no, we're only reacting to you saying that Trump has a long-term plan that he's.
Oh yeah,
that's it.
I'm hearing you list out these qualities of a dictator, and I'm like, what government am I going to overthrow? Because that sounds like my alley right there.
Well, you primed for dictatorship.
I kind of have all I have all those traits. I try really hard to suppress them.
But check out these. Do you factor in these 10 key indicators?
Yeah, where was fascist on career day?
Yeah, I think it was in the corner of the people afraid to go near women. I think that's a starter.
I sat at that table anyway. So
it was called being a cop.
It was definitely near the magic table. It was magic table adjacent.
It was called being a cop. You didn't go that way.
No.
What, cops?
Fascists.
Stay out of my with deadbeat.
Jeez.
I'm
trying. I mean,
cops at least have like an internal order and ideology. I don't think Trump is. I feel like there's something specific to someone who gets that much power, like where they believe in nothing. I feel like cops.
I,
Maybe.
Say what you will about the tenets of
Thank
National
you.
Socialism.
Thank you.
At least it's an ethos.
At least the fucking ethos. Yes, I don't think you can do the shit that Trump or Hitler does if you believe in something.
The current Trump character, in my mind, was made over the last 6 or 7 years by his followers. Like, he started in a certain state, like as a certain way, but like the echo, the mirror, the reaction, the cheering to the different things that he says those things louder and more often, and they cheer more, and that like slowly becomes it, right? Like he became this character, this thing, you know.
I would argue that he's always been that person. It was just the circumstances that would inevitably lead him to this spot. I don't think
I wouldn't say inevitably, but
yeah, that's fair. Okay. So see, this is a problem. Even when we talk about Biden, we end up talking about Trump. Biden,
he is a vacuum, and all things will be sucked to him.
He's fucking fantastic at it, really.
Actually, to be totally honest, this week has been really nice, as far as like, I'm just like, I don't fucking care anymore, and it kind of drifts out of my head more.
Every time you see another lawsuit shut down or something. Okay, so Biden might be able to do some things with COVID. Hopefully, we want to do a lot more, but he'll do stuff. There'll be an incremental improvement for sure, and hopefully a bigger one than we expect.
I like the point of adults rolling out vaccines.
Yeah, just the adults thing. Like, things will get better. It sucks that, even with the power that a government could have to solve this, it probably won't do what we want, but it will get better. We talked about the McConnell thing. I think, okay, so the last political thing here I have is like long-term hopes for Biden. What do you, forgetting the, I don't know, pessimism or cynicism of like government and things not really changing, just adults running it. Like, what do you hope for that you think Biden could do that could just really be good for the country the next 4 years?
Find ways to work with Republican lawmakers.
Like
No, I've got nothing past that high level bullet point.
Okay, so
don't mistake me for anybody wiser than that. But if we're talking
like policy positions, like what do you hope that like he ends up accomplishing? But I guess like that would enable a bunch more good to happen for sure.
I mean, I have a lot of your cliche pushover Democrat in me, where like I want functioning compromise-based governance as opposed to maximalist stances. So that's what I hope for, and I got that from Obama, and the reaction was that we got a fascist and a Republican Party that is, corrupt past any point of usefulness.
Yeah, neoliberalism apparently is.
I don't know how more of that's going to fix it. I'm sorry, I don't know how more like trying to be centrist could fix something like that, but that's still what I desire.
Yeah, so I mean, my hope is that Biden is like the sugar coating of liberal ideas, right? He makes some liberal ideas like a public option, like universal health care, like serious climate change legislation palatable to independents and moderates, right? Because it is essentially filtering from the liberal wing of the Democratic Party through him. And he's able to get independents on board and, maybe some moderate Republicans on board with those ideas.
I'm sold. Sounds good to me.
That would be
That's my hope.
Nice. That's a good hope. I like that hope.
What's your hope, Tim? Oh no, go ahead. Sorry, Will.
Well, I mean, he's gotten more liberal, right, than he was 4 years ago when he was in the White House. He's gotten more liberal, over the past year, probably. He's still the centrist Democrat who made it the farthest, besides Gabbard. But yeah, I guess my hope is that that trend continues and he just understands his position as the, essentially the tastemaker.
His position is to make people like me feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you on the other side, right? Like the reasonable Republican, the reasonable Democrat.
Yeah.
People who wouldn't agree with Sanders or Warren or AOC.
I mean, even I don't at this point.
I mean, I get why she's sniping.
I mean, I'm talking like percentages, right?
Yeah.
Like I can 95% agree with somebody and say that I don't agree in these areas.
Yeah, I mean, I 99% agree with Sanders, but I still think he's an asshole. Like, I still didn't want him as a president. Even though, like, if you do the policy quizzes where it's like, answer these 150 questions,
We'll
I'll tell
be
you.
a Bernie support for sure.
Well, no, it's like Elizabeth Warren, like 99%, Bernie Sanders, 98%.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Wow, that's really how the heck can you have them both at such high amounts? I feel like
There's a ton of overlap in their policies.
Is there really? Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's
Okay.
there's a you can argue the foundation of where they're coming from is different, but the practical policies, when you boil down a lot of it, is very, very, very similar.
That makes a lot of sense. Oh, by the way, we're talking. Oh, no, go ahead. I was gonna go on a complete tangent.
I was going to ask Jim what his answer to that question was.
No,
Okay.
yeah, sure. So my answer is I hope the sell of Joe Biden is far more reality than I believe it is. And I want that to be true because it does mean a lot more good things for the country. Like I gotta hope that I'm wrong about like, putting centrist Democrats in. I hope I'm wrong about the gap divide and that he can depoliticize things to a point where functioning government can happen again. Because like you have to. That's like the best possible scenario right now. I don't think it will, but it'd be stupid not to hope for it. Like I want that to happen, right? I'd love if Biden came in and he started pulling support from Republicans on issues where the compromise was not these crazy, crazy extremes, but like, sure, we give a little and we take a little. And like, yeah, we move the ball forward and we conceded some things, but they're far more like, yeah, but these are reasonable things to be compromising. That would be incredible. I feel like that's the sell. I don't believe it, but I want it to be true right now. Because if it's not, then we're inviting a shitload of inaction in another Donald Trump. Like if everything I think is right, this is the cycle that we are just in now between far right idealism and taking a breath and then jumping back into it.
Right. If we get Mecca Trump in 2024.
Right. Like, or one of his kids, it's like, oh, so like this isn't shifting left and shifting right. It's crawling back to the middle and then jumping right again, and then crawling back to the middle and jumping right again.
I think the sample size is too small to extrapolate any meaningful projection from it.
I would argue Obama gave us Trump in a way.
That feels like you are placing blame
Well, not no, I'm sorry. Not Obama specifically.
I hear what you're saying, Jim, and I agree.
Thank you.
And I also hear what you're saying, Will, and you're right.
Like it's not Obama. It's the ideologies of the Democratic Party and like neoliberalism that I think invite Donald Trump to take power. Like it's still so heavy corporatist and not focused on people and not union support. Like you are creating the bureaucratic nightmare that a populist right person can just seize up in a way that is so dangerous, because you're not really, like, you're winning, but you're not really doing enough with that win because you're so focused on the corporations. And
I don't know. I'm afraid of populists on either side. Like I think far left populists are as dangerous as far right populists. Like I don't think that's a good ideology.
I mean, in a vacuum, that's great, but name how many, like, where's the threat really coming from? Like,
oh yeah, right now, of course. I'm just saying that like pushing the Democratic Party too far into populism, I don't think is a good thing either. I don't think it's a good thing for the country.
but
yeah, I mean, but this
I
is.
think sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is where Jim and I diverge as liberals.
This is the Warren Sanders divide. This is why we agree on 99% of things, but there's this fundamental core part that we don't agree on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on Will's side, obviously.
Yeah, I'm aware of this.
Although I think being black had way more to do with Trump than anything else.
What'd you say?
Obama being black had way more than anything else to do with the rise of Trump, as far as Obama leading to somebody like Trump.
I mean, Trump came to the political forefront via the birther movement. So,
yep. And the Tea Party wouldn't have existed without, to the degree that it did, in the way that it did, in the virulent way that it did, if it wasn't for a black president. And I think that Trump style kind of like these things sort of sequentially evolve into each other.
Well, now we have a black female as a VP, so Trump 2.0, bring it on, I guess, because now,
Well, 2024 will be interesting.
I've coined Mecha Trump.
Yeah,
I think 2022 is going to be super interesting.
I think we've summoned somewhere deep in the ocean. Mecha Trump has just spawned, and it is crawling up for the next 4 years.
Of course, 2024 is going to be super interesting. But I'm really curious what. Actually, no, I take it back. 2022 isn't going to be that interesting.
It'll be.
It could be really good.
I mean,
I'm sorry. I was still in the mindset before, but like this version of Trump's loss is basically a win for the brand.
Yeah.
So it's just going to hang out.
It'll hang out for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a win. It's just a hit. It's not a killing blow, and it's not a win. It's just like, well, there's nothing else that's going to come and try to dethrone it. So that's what we're going to have for a while. That brand of Republican is going to be, you're going to see more of them in 2022 and more of them in 2024, and we'll see which one tries to become president.
Well, I think 2024 is interesting just because Biden is not going to run again, or almost certainly not going to run again.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't even consider that.
So, I mean, obviously Harris is the obvious front runner, but there will still be a primary. And I'm curious if she does better than she did in this primary, where she shit the bed pretty hard.
I mean, having the active president endorsing you is a pretty big 4 years to like.
The active president probably isn't going to endorse her. Like there is like the unsaid endorsement, but the active president will not publicly endorse a primary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
I'm not used
Biden.
to a
Until
situation where the
We're,
president doesn't run again.
look, Trump would give Pence the thumbs up. Biden won't give Kamala.
yeah. So do you have some non-political questions, Jim?
Yeah, because late.
Yeah, we can do lighter stuff. One thing I had was well, I want, and I don't know if you guys thought of it. I put it out there. Give me something as a recommendation that us and anyone who's watching, which will probably just be us in like 4 hours, would look into. Show, movie, podcast, book, album, YouTube channel, anything, and do a quick like 30-second spot on.
Yeah, so I started watching Truth Seekers on Amazon Prime, which is the guys, they have a name, but I can't remember what it is. The guys who did Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. So it's like Simon Pegg and the fat one.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah, they're basically a troupe.
yeah, exactly. They have a name. I just can't think of. I can't remember it. But yeah, so they have an 8-episode series on Amazon Prime that is about the fat one being a ghost hunter, and it is pretty spooky. Like I'm not into horror as a genre, so I found it pretty creepy. Megan did not, but it was very compelling, and I wanted to watch more, which for somebody who isn't a fan of horror is like super high praise. Yeah.
Is
the first
it
two. Sorry, go ahead.
Is it presented as a horror show, or I guess yeah, their other things are always taken like 80-90% seriously of whatever genre they're doing.
Yeah, it is less comedy than Shaun of the Dead.
I was gonna say, where's the mix? Because Shaun of the Dead was a comedy before a horror, I would say.
Yeah, this is a little bit more like, it's obviously still really funny. There's some really funny parts to it, but it also has like a pretty compelling plot, which is around like the kind of ghost story, and it like teeters off at the end. But the first couple episodes are really, really strong, and if you're into them, you might as well just watch the rest.
You might as well just finish it out.
Yeah, it's only 8 episodes, so.
Brian, do you have anything, or do you want me to throw something out there?
I don't really have anything. I mean, just if I haven't said it to anybody yet, Isaac Arthur is
what is Isaac Arthur?
Long form science and futurism, space megastructures, interplanetary trade, near and far future technologies, Kasparov scale. What was that? Well, it's YouTube. It's basically like 15 to 30-minute long podcasts that are on YouTube. I listen to them on Spotify, but you can also watch them on YouTube to watch graphics while he talks.
Pictures, science, and technology.
I mean, I'm actually into the like watching podcasts on YouTube, because I'm home all the time anyway now. So what's the point of listening to it when I can just pull it up on YouTube? And if I want to like glance at the people talking, I can glance at the people talking.
You should, if you haven't, definitely check out some of the stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
There's like 7 years worth of content. There's an inordinately large amount of stuff.
What do you got, Jim?
All right. Well, I'm gonna do 2 because one's small, and I'm just looking up the guy's name. I'm trying to remember because I can't. If you're gonna look for a YouTube channel that I think is really fun and interesting, it's a guy, Ben Burgess. Do you know who he is? So he's part of I don't know if the company, I don't think he owns it. He's relation to it, called Zero Books, but he wrote a book called Give Them an Argument, Logic for the Left. And he walks through, like a lot of his videos are around looking at arguments made and then breaking them down and calling out what logical fallacies are, why they're fallacies, why these arguments are valid or invalid. And it's a very good way of like understanding. He speaks in a very easy way to like to say, oh, like these arguments are bad arguments to make, because his argument is that the left, you know, he's definitely on the left, but he's like the left often makes very bad arguments, and they're not compelling, and these are better ways to have a constructive discussion, where you're not falling into the traps that you then accuse the other side of doing.
Is that where you got your removing somebody's ability to discriminate is taking away their privilege stance from?
I don't think I got that from him, but probably someone like him. I mean, he does a lot of them. He's the guy that talks about like he was talking about Motte and Bailey a lot. Like he breaks down like the big names, Sam Harris, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, and he walks through like the logical fallacies of their arguments of why like these are not valid.
And his site is Zero Books, right?
Yeah, like Zero Books is like.
I'm just looking at it. I just wanted to.
Yeah. But you'll
say the thing you've been trying to say.
Yeah.
I was just going to make fun of Jim and ask if he's been watching so much of this YouTube channel. Why is he so terrible at arguing?
Oh, funny. That's great. Well,
I don't know. Like most of my time in the politics Slack channel is just cleaning up your argument.
Yeah, but like
no,
here's my point.
This is what Jim's trying to say.
My ideas are good. All right, just because.
Yeah, you're bad at arguing.
Yeah, well, you know what? I
like when Earl is like, Jim, aren't you supposed to be in sales?
I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm trying to win an argument. These are different things. Okay, that was the small thing. The other thing I'll put out there, I don't know if you guys have seen it. Have you seen the Queen's Gambit?
I have not. I've been meaning to watch it. Right. I heard it's really good.
Yeah, I know of it.
I have I overlooked it a lot. There's some parts that kind of hit me in a weird way, like that I don't love, but I don't want to talk about it until you guys watch it. But overall, high production value. It's got like that fun, like really smart person montage-y do smart things stuff. That I don't know why, but I like watching. It's just fun, you know.
I will never not be a sucker for that.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, okay, they do that a lot. Maybe too much, but overall, it's a good miniseries. It's a high quality, it's well produced. But there's definitely some things that like hit me in a weird way, and I'm like, I don't know about this. So I want you guys to watch.
Mediocre praise.
What's that?
This is mediocre praise.
No, like I don't know how big of a deal those things are, so I'm like caveating it. It's got a high production value, and a lot of people like it, and I can see why they like it. And I liked it too. I thought it was enjoyable. But the thing that's gnawing at me, I want to talk about, and I don't want to talk about it until you've seen it.
I have a pretty light day tomorrow, so maybe I'll just binge watch it.
You'll just binge it. It's like 8 episodes or something, so I don't know.
Yeah.
There's nearly no chance I'm going to watch it.
There is the amount of time that I spend with like some random thing, either YouTube or some show up on one half of my screen, and like a PowerPoint that I'm working on the other half, and that's how I spend my day.
Yeah, no, 4-hour videos of people doing stuff. It's like, oh, I'm doing things with people around me. I'm interacting. Like I'm in an office. I'm not just in the same desk I've been in for 8 hours. It's 30 feet from my bed, and that's my whole day today. You know,
Mama, bring me the piss pot.
Pretty much.
I heard that that show is like leading to a pretty big uptake in chess, as far as like new players.
Well, that's really cool. I always like stuff like that.
Quarantine in general has been really good for chess, actually. It's one of the things that people, I think, found as an easily accessible project, like something I'm going to start doing with my quarantine time.
I'm going to go get good at chess.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to learn how to play chess. Like chess.com had like this huge boom at the start of quarantine. And then there were a whole bunch of like chess streamers that did really well for a little while.
Yeah, streaming and doing something you're good at, if you have any, ability to be entertaining, it is like something like that, to your point, that like anyone could start doing so they can immediately start appreciating it. You're right. So do you guys have any of those? I mean, we've all talked.
Like,
what's like a good thing that's come out of COVID?
As far as like self-improvement,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm like, I have nothing to do but like exercise is like the highlight of my day now.
That's good.
So that's helpful.
Brian, you got one?
I mean, I guess broadly, like I've got to spend a lot more time with Zoe than I would otherwise.
Yeah, I'll say forcing me back to Long Island has given me it certainly made some parts of my life easier, like bringing the kids back and forth. During the summer when they didn't have school in the morning, they were staying over Wednesday night, and that was nice. So definitely things that wouldn't have happened if I was in the city. So just focusing on the good, there's definitely some good there. I've personally started cooking more. The food is generally getting more and more edible.
Nice. Nice.
Like the idea that a piano thing kind of comes and goes, but like it's obviously better than when I first started. So like there's there's a lot of little projects like that, right? That I don't know how much I would have taken up if I could just go out and hang out in the city. So,
Are you
right.
yeah, I mean, I think that's actually really like little projects that you see if you enjoy, and like having the time to see if you enjoy it, like the piano, right? Like you get to pick it up for a little while, but you don't have to have like this you know you don't need the rigor that you would normally have to have in order to incorporate that into your life, right? You
Right.
can just kind of casually,
Like it's there and I'm
yeah,
here, and we
yeah,
ain't
like,
neither one of us is going anywhere today.
yeah, exactly. Like maybe I can go, maybe I'm going to play this for for an hour today, or I'm
Yeah,
going to try.
maybe my team calls. I'm just going to shut down video and mute, and
Yeah.
I'm just going to do this in the background because.
Yeah, exactly. And if you were in the city, and if you were, if work was normal work,
Yeah, I'd be in the
whatnot,
office right between
yeah,
meetings, and I wouldn't be home. Yeah.
yeah, and you would have to be carving out an hour. Like this is the hour I'm going to practice piano, and
Yep.
like that's so much harder to do. Although I think now, saying that out loud, I think that for anybody who's like, actually wants to get good at something, making like carving that hour out and saying this is the hour I'm going to do this is really important. But I appreciate kind of the casual project of like, I just want to see if I have fun with this, and like there's not really much pressure associated with it.
I don't think we'd be doing this if it wasn't COVID. I've definitely seen your guys' mugs a lot more during COVID than not.
Yeah, that's I've made that point to a couple people, where I'm actually hanging out with my friends way more often now than I ever was before, because nobody has anything to do. Well, it's like life.
Too bad we
life
still haven't gotten that shipment from the mine yet.
Yeah, life gets in the way normally, right? But like that's just, it doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
So we have the ability to say, no, every Tuesday night we're gonna play D&D for 3 hours, and every Sunday night we're gonna bullshit about whatever for a couple hours. Yeah, and that definitely wouldn't happen in a non-COVID world.
Thank you, Donald Trump. So,
yeah, we could be like New Zealand and like actually going to do shit again.
One day. All right. Well, I think that's everything I got. Do you guys anything you wanted to bring up?
Nah, it's 11. It's late.
Okay.
Brian has a bedtime.
Brian.
Oh no, I gotta go get some Hades runs in before bed.
I've been only doing for the last 2 days, or 3 days, the new game. And I cannot get past Theseus and Asterius.
So what does, you just try to each run you just hit a new game and try to do it straight through, or
I just delete the save.
Oh, okay.
And I start a new save, so you have no power-ups.
I remember the first run though, there's weird like it forces certain boons or something, or
so you'll always get Athena first boon.
Okay.
And she will always give you the modification of your attack, your special, or your dash. So you obviously take the dash.
That dash is so good.
Yeah, it's the best.
Dash to fly.
Dash. And you can't see Zeus in those runs.
Oh, weird.
He doesn't show up until the second run. You can't see gems
Sure.
or the not ambrosia, the nectar.
Wait, what is the point of the new game thing? I don't get it.
Well, it's just a challenge, right? It's like,
It's a
can I beat the game with no persistent power-ups?
What is it?
Like the mirror, right? Or the contractor stuff that
you're
puts like
doing,
fountains and
You turn off all persistent power-ups and you try and win?
I delete the save and then I create a new save and I try to beat it on the first run. And if I
because
don't,
the contractor stuff still applies, right? So like
the contractor stuff is gone.
That's what I'm saying. You can't turn off the contractor.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking
correct.
what you thought too, Will. Like, can't you just turn it all off? Or like, nope.
Right. There's
And
contractors
also, you
that are
couldn't.
built that you can't undo. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't ever get to that state again, and a new game is the only way to get to that state. But like, you don't delete the thing every time, right? Or you do because it's specifically a run that can only happen in this run.
Yeah, exactly. So I just delete the save and then I start again. And it's been fun to be that limited.
Yeah, totally.
And
But-
I mean, that's basically what pacts are, anyways. Like, you got super powerful during the normal run. Eventually, you're like, all right, now I'm gonna make shit harder for me.
Yeah.
And like,
so you haven't beaten the game on the first run yet, is what you're saying?
I die like 90% of my runs. I die to Theseus and Asterius.
yeah,
They're a hard duo.
Yeah, it's just because I just don't do enough damage to outlast them.
yeah.
Got it. And if you
And
do beat this, is that like just like, oh, that was a fun challenge, or is there something that happens on? if
no,
you-
it's just that's a fun challenge. You do
You
get
have to, like,
a
unlock a part of the game or something like that. Okay.
no, you'll get a unique dialogue from Hades if you make it to Hades on the first try.
Oh, cool.
Because his normal dialogue is about how you've tried so many times and you finally got to him.
Yeah, it feels like he's really speaking to me when he says that shit. So
Yeah, so this is a unique one. But yeah, I'm basically always able to get to the Act 3 boss and can never get past him.
Oh, jeez.
got it. Well, that's
If you get sick of heats, I would suggest this as a good thing. I want to be able to skip a whole bunch of heats and just get the rewards for all the ones that I did,
Yeah,
like that I
ditto.
skipped. Like,
Ditto. Oh my god. Oh god. Because I want to be playing everything at like a higher heat, and just. I still actually have only done 3 runs with the shield, and I know this because I could look at the history.
it's
Because
so
I did
bad.
my all. What was that?
It's so bad. I hate the fucking shield.
Oh really? You guys had mentioned the Zeus shield, so I tried that one out, and I think I cleared, but I don't. Yeah.
It just takes so long.
Oh yeah.
And I'm so aggressive in my play.
Dude, whenever Dave talks, he's like, "Yeah, I just hide around the corners and do this and that." I'm like, how the fuck did you play like that? That's not how this game works.
Runs just seem exhausting to think about.
I know.
I did finally beat Zeus with the gloves, and the build. I caught some combo. I could look it up, but like, I just charged Zeus. Like, he never was able to do his ult thing. Somehow I was I was just punching, and it was like he just half stood there for like a minute. He didn't do anything.
I just had a run where like I was doing some other stuff, but then near the end, I ended up collecting Athena's Call at like level 7, and then also a couple of the like God Gauge boons, and I was basically just invulnerable standing there DPSing Hades, like just
Oh, that's what it was.
no problem.
Your gauge auto fills to 25% with Athena.
Well, no, I stacked a couple of different. I mean, there's like one where like whenever you crit, it goes up by more. There's one where it goes up by 1% every second, and you get like 2 or 3 of those going, plus that level 7 Athena's thing. I'm just like, I literally just stood in front of him through
Just hitting it. You're like, I'm immortal the second this
the
stupid
entire
thing goes
second. The entire second half of the fight, I just like spammed F and just DPS'd him. I'm just standing in his ult, his
Yeah.
like no spin, just keep hitting.
I can't believe you still play on a keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still do.
Apparently, like zero, like no speedrunners, like none of the high end, like Hades players play on a keyboard, which was surprising to the developers.
Oh, interesting.
Well, they definitely don't play on a Switch Lite. I'm sure they probably play on a regular Switch because the fucking Switch Lite lags out on me.
They all play on a PC.
What's that?
They all play on a PC.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah, I realized what was causing the lag. Button matching. Just lags you out. Remember that thing I told you?
Oh, on Switch.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes.
So if I play a character like the punchy man,
Oh, jeez.
a lot of button matching. So much button matching.
That feels like they can definitely fix that in software.
Dude, you think that? You think that?
If Breath of the Wild can run on that fucking thing, then Hades can run on it.
Dude, next time I see you, I'm gonna give you my Switch. I'm gonna say, well,
I mean, I say that knowing nothing about game development, and like maybe Hades for some reason is more intensive than Breath of the Wild, but I can't imagine that's the case.
just watch when you got the two guys, the Minotaur and the other guy, and all of a sudden you can't dodge, you can't use a single button. You can just run around. You just run around, and the Minotaur's just swinging his axe. He's just coming at you. You can't do anything. He's like, ow, ow.
Oh, I just played them on extreme measures.
Yeah, no, that axe is pretty big and does a lot of damage.
Yeah, he just keeps spinning. He does not stop spinning.
No, you have to cancel it out, or have you done the charm yet? It is hysterical when he leaps at the other guy, and the other guy's like, "What the fuck are you doing to me, buddy?"
Actually, I have been.
Lay off. And then I'm like, insta charm because it recharged. Go hit him again. And he's looking at me. He's like, no, I'm gonna go jump at you again. The guy's like, bro, what are you doing? And it's just like you just haven't fighting each other the whole time.
I have been prioritizing the Aphrodite call lately, and yeah, you guys are right.
And don't let it max.
That one is out of control. Good.
Yes. Yeah.
The Aphrodite legendary is broken.
Is that the one that you can charm things?
15% of your attacks will charm. It's like it's so good.
Wait, so you can just stun lock Hades?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
If you have a fast enough attack, you can. But even if you don't, like every stage, half the guys are like your buddies after like a minute or like a second or two.
And yeah, half of Hades' attacks get like interrupted because he gets charmed.
Or like his big thing, if you just hit him with that, he just stops it. He's like, I don't know what I was doing. What was I doing? You're like, I don't know. Just stand right there.
Yeah, the Aphrodite legendary is completely broken. But I actually think that the legendary boons should be broken.
Yeah, I've barely seen them.
Dude,
have you gotten the Neptune legendary?
What's that?
Where you get more fishing points?
No.
You can fish more. That's the Neptune legendary.
That's so stupid.
That really kind of follows with what my general thought of his boon list is.
The one that auto returns your cast is amazing.
I have never done any kind of cast builds.
Dude, cast builds are what I use when I hate the weapon. I'm just going to win this game of casts. We're just going to get the spinny red things that auto track and are bigger and last longer and have a storm in them. And I'm not going to do anything else. You're just going to get auto spinny things always hitting you.
Yeah, those are the only Ares boons that I like, are the Blade Rifts.
Yeah, I don't know what else you do with Ares besides Blade Rifts. Ares is terrible.
I'm telling you guys, Ares is actually really, really good.
What build do you do with Ares?
I told you, I do the
Ares like the plague.
For the special bow, I do his boon on attack constantly.
Wow.
And the like all of his other passive boons are great. The like flat damage,
he has two really strong ones.
Yeah, and I mean it's enough that like whenever I see Ares boons, I'm like, oh sweet, I'm gonna pick up one of these and stick it in.
Yeah, I don't ever want your Doom damage, Ares. Like, get out of here with your Doom damage. That shit doesn't scale. I don't want any of that.
Yeah, it's good in only some situations.
Yeah, but give me that
damage bonus plus, everything.
Yeah, but bonus 13 to 16%
sure.
to
like one thing.
And 200% after you kill somebody on your next attack is so.
Yeah, All right. All
I'm
right.
iffy on that one, but also the whenever you use Death Defiance, get bonus damage for the rest of the fight, which basically means like always active on boss.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a win more boon, kind of. Like if I'm gonna beat,
I 100% disagree. So I think about it like this: like if I'm going to show up at Hades, I'm going to have a Death Defiance or two, so I'm doing like 30% bonus damage for more than half the fight. That's not win more. That can like turn things around.
yeah, so like I don't think the Hades fight is hard.
I think it is if I have a melee character.
Yeah,
Even a melee character, like I don't think I think, yeah, it's just not that bad. Extreme Measures Hades is decently hard.
And what do you die on? He's the only character that's hard.
I mean, I don't really die on runs anymore.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Which is why that's why I want to like advance the heat, and that's why I've switched to only new run, because like I beat 15 runs in a row. Okay, like what am I gonna do now?
Yeah, I was just
all the legendary weapons yet. I'm still waiting on 2 of them.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Which ones?
The gloves and the shield.
I just unlocked all of them because I went out of my way to make sure to unlock them.
And I don't have all the stuff in the house yet.
The upgrades?
Yeah.
Well, there's like hundreds.
Yeah, I'm almost there.
Really? Oh, I haven't even bought them.
I thought like you were supposed to get them for a while, so I just optimized builds around getting them and just ran them and died over and over again, being, well, I got 500 of that stupid contractor shit. I'm gonna go buy more stuff now.
I barely touched them.
Oh.
I bought all the power-ups, but then that was that.
Oh.
That's funny.
My place, I'm sure, has more decorations than in yours.
Yeah, I fully upgraded the lounge, and like
You do all your contractor stuff.
Then I stopped prioritizing. Well, I mean, I buy stuff, but I never.
You never did contractor runs? Was I the only one?
I never take gems if I don't have to take, like, unless the game forces me to take gems. I never take gems. I don't want those gems. Get out of here.
You gotta get back to the building.
The amount of times that
I want all the portraits, even if I can only hand one of them.
Yeah, although it really annoys me that sometimes I'll dash away too quickly. Like I'll pick up the diamond from killing Lerny, and then I'll forget about the gems, and like I'll only notice it like as the ship is leaving. I'm like, God damn it!
You on all the other ones. Why don't they? Why did they let you not? Why did you miss that one?
Oh, you know which one I've done an annoying number of times? The Infernal Trove.
Yeah.
Because they don't block the door on that one.
Yep. Yeah, you do the Infernal Trove and then you forget to collect your reward.
Yep.
Yeah.
At least twice, because I remember thinking, I fucking did this before too, didn't I?
All right. Well, that new build thing sounds fun. I could try.
I actually did a run with Doom Hades on the pistols, or the gun, Coronacht or whatever.
Exogryph.
Or Hippogriff, yeah.
Gryffindor?
Yeah, because on its basic attack, actually, and it actually worked out pretty well because I got the boon that bumps up the doom damage each time they're hit.
No, you got to get the one where you never have to reload.
So it's good for high attack speed, low damage.
The problem is it still doesn't scale that well because it's only plus 12, I think, maybe plus 16.
It depends on the level and the rarity.
Yeah, but it's like it's pretty low.
Right, but then like, so for doing 10 damage a hit base with the shots, doing 10 extra damage because of the boon is plus 100% damage, which is a lot more than I usually end up getting on a lot of normal boons that aren't like, Athena stacking or something. So
yeah,
I think there are a lot more scenarios than you're giving credit for where that actually is better than a percentage bonus.
I was Zeus.
part of the weird part is whether or not the other like global bonuses affected or not, right? Like you got, and I'm curious how they do their stacking in general anyways. Like how do multiplicative bonuses stack on top of each other? And I'm like this close to checking it out.
Yeah, somebody's done the research, I'm sure.
Did you know that there's when you're rolling between whether you're going to get gold or silver rewards on a room, they have like a sliding percentage scale?
I did not.
So it's either, at least on the wiki, they described it as like meta currency and run advancement.
Mhm.
And they're always grouped together. So
Yeah.
like when you beat a room, everything is going to be either silver
Mhm.
reaped, and it'll just be points for your meta advancement, or it'll be the gold.
Yep.
And they keep a running tally of how many you have of each of those, and they use that to try to equalize the amount that you
Oh.
get over the course of the run.
I
Right.
did not know that.
Yeah, so you could spike and then it'll like try to remoderate.
I use the plus 20% gold rooms
Ditto.
rather than the plus 40% rare boons. Yeah, I'm
Oh.
pretty sure about that.
But I actually also run the re-rolling the rooms
Oh,
authority.
okay.
I think I'm an outlier on that one.
I used to, but now I don't.
I'm because I've been doing the gold runs to get the Titan's blood for a while, but since I started trying to go deep on the bow and try to get to a high heat, so I've switched out to something that's more greedy.
You're trying to get good at the bow?
I just want to get to a high heat because I'm sick of
Low heat bow, something?
well, I'm sick of low heat in general.
Yeah.
So I'm up
I
to
think I got to,
with the
yeah,
bow right now.
I'm at 16 with the bow and like 10 or more with everything else except the shield. Like I refuse to play the shield. I fucking hate that.
Yeah, dude, the shield is not fun. Like it's definitely the least fun.
Yeah, I'm at like heat 2 with it. I'm like, I'm never playing this again. This is not...
The gun actually, I've started to like the gun more than the bow.
Have you used the Lucifer aspect?
I just unlocked it and tried it against Skelly. With you drop like little orbs that you can shoot and they pulse
I
damage.
saw that with like the laser gun.
Yeah, and your gun is like a
I don't know. I didn't care for it.
constant
The
stream.
gun, I just go for the auto, never reload, and then I'm happy. And then I'm like, I can now beat the game. But if I don't get that, I hate that gun.
The apparently like the any percent like world record speed runs are looking for the rockets and then the barrage daedalus upgrades to do like your special fires 5 times but does 33% less damage.
Yeah.
And you just do insane damage with that.
Yeah, I had one of my first gun runs was with the rocket, and then something else on it. I forget what, but it was like, whoa, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, guys.
Later, Brian.
Have a good night. We'll do this again.